Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the final part of our Building an Unreal Engine series. It's been a really great series. Thanks so much for attending all of them. Yeah, for this final part, I guess I just want to take some time to talk to y'all, try and understand what you want to get out of the section. I know there have been a ton of things going on throughout Global Hack Week, and I want to make sure that whether it's related to my stream or not, that your questions about development and game design are answered, and that y'all have a clear path moving forward with game design. So first off, what I'd want to ask is, what do y'all want to see in this stream? I was thinking of doing some Q&A to start off. We could definitely do some stuff about like game design, how to get started in game development. Um, are there any big questions that y'all have having attended Global Hack Week? Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. I'm just gonna get Unreal Engine started up, and we can also explore that if that's what y'all want to do as well. We can maybe work on implementing some UI in Unreal Engine. That could be cool. But yeah, let me know what you want to let me know at the end of this session what you want to know how to be able to do. Implementing UI sounds great. Yep, we can definitely do that then. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what y'all have in terms of like questions about game design, or what you're interested in doing. Let me also share screen. Alright, so this is part of what we had before, where it was basically the first person template. We had created a particle system. We have this right here. Basically, the point of this particle system was that we would be able to kind of have a kind of spray paint function. The functionality isn't completely done yet, but there's the start of it at least. Do game devs storyboard their games like web devs? Probably a silly question. No, there are no silly questions. The only silly question is no questions. At least that's what I believe, personally. Because questions are how you learn. They can. It really depends on your style, how big the studio is, but realistically, they probably would do some kind of storyboard, or even if it's not specifically a storyboard, some kind of board in general, whether it's like a Trello board that's more like word-based of like tasks, or like a Figma board where it's like you have some graphics and depictions of things happening in the game. Yeah, I think that's definitely something to do, because usually when someone develops a game, they have a key idea in their head for like maybe like one level or one area in a game, and that expands into a larger kind of game that they end up creating. Let's see. So let's add user interface. example UI. Let's see. I'm trying to look for anchor. Let's see, how do I... Because I want to make this text in the middle. I guess we can flip this to like... where is size content? Just say player stats. Let's do openable blueprint so we can have the witch created on something, maybe just like a press button. Let's use UI. Viewport. And then we want a keyboard event. So then we want so that on press. That's when all this happens. Save parent. Let's put that on release so that basically we can press enter again in order to stop the parent. Let's compile. And then when we play, and then when we click enter, player stats shows up on screen. It's actually very, very easy to implement like simple kind of UI like this. And obviously in a AAA game you'd have like polish like transitions, more better graphics, but essentially, like, this is all you're really doing. Alright, and let's see. Now we can add, like, I'll just make this a bit nicer. Compile this, see, does this. This doesn't have that number. So does nodes you're working on connect to the game interface? Yeah, so that's a method of programming. It's a lot like visual programming compared to like Scratch, if you've used that, called Blueprints. That's exclusive to Unreal Engine, which I think is very, very useful. It's really simple and readable, and I do like it. So right here is the blueprint for the weapon, for example. So let's say we change the projectile. Now we shoot these kind of fireball things. They have a long lifetime, it appears. And they have their own sound effect. It's like a circuit board, it seems a lot less intimidating to me. Yeah, if you were starting out programming, I would definitely recommend doing blueprinting to start off, just because that's way more readable. Especially if you're following along with a tutorial or the document tutorials at first, it's a lot easier compared to programming through like a C++ or something like that. And especially this button right here is really cool because it just lets you go to whatever blueprints you want. So VP weapon component. Let's add it back to the projectile. So what we can do is we can duplicate a few of these things. And so we can make it that not only does it have the first person projectile, have the smoke effect, so let's try and run this. So now we can do two at the same time, and all we had to do was basically reuse what we already had. Let's see if we can. Oh man, it seems like creating 3D or 2D game seems right to me, but it's not a great lag work. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, hopefully that's what a lot of streams have shown you, that it's not as hard as it might necessarily appear first off. Especially like really great looking games. There's a lot of really cool starter pack stuff that can help you kind of get to there pretty quickly in terms of like a visual aspect. Let's see. So one thing I'm gonna do is something here for set lifespan. Okay, so I do prefer this explosion because it does have a very short lifetime, so that's good. Let's see, what else should we create? Let's see if we can change up some of the attributes of our player character. This is the blueprint of a character. Alright, so let's see if we can change the player kind of movement. Like maybe we can jump higher, maybe we can move faster. Okay, I think here we might be able to change it. Let's change this to 1200. Let's increase air control. Let's change the velocity that we have. So even making simple changes like this, do that, like the way that we interact with the map is completely different. Like, for example, like we just overshot that jump that was meant to, go on the spot because it was meant with a certain movement speed in mind. Right, so we changed our character's stats. What else should we do? Let's see. Let's go to our weapon. So let's see, where do we... I'm trying to figure out where it says that we are pressing the left mouse button as our, trigger. Okay. Shoot. Just want to see if this does anything. Weapon. Okay, so now we have it to where the first, or the left mouse button is that, right mouse button does that. So now we can essentially have two different parts to our weapon, which is really cool. And I'd love if people could say in chat what they want the second weapon to do. But at the moment, it's just kind of like an explosion effect. Our first weapon is basically a bouncy ball. So, I'm trying to think what other kind of effect we want our second weapon to have. Let's see if the objective of this game. So really, we're just going over the basics in terms of like Unreal Engine and their first-person template. So there isn't like a full game kind of idea yet. It's basically just exploring the template and learning how we can manipulate it. Alright, so I'm thinking what could be cool is if we launch some kind of projectile that maybe sticks to a wall or something. Maybe we could use a part of our particle system that we had created before. See. The red make a splat or something so it sticks. I'm trying to make it so that at the moment it kind of just stops on the terrain, but I'm trying to make it to where it stops but it doesn't like stack on itself. So it just kind of like is like flat against the terrain. Let's see. Hmm. Let's change. This will say something else. Okay, so now it's a little crazy. Game plus. Back to stop. Now we can go back. To our weapon. Let's go to okay, so now we go to viewport. And we can delete the particle system because we don't Loop the particle system. Have it. It's weapon. Let's create that. Let's see, because I'm trying to. Because it isn't spawning the particle system. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's see. see if that works. I mean, it spawns it, doesn't kill it. So we should probably make it to where it's like on hold. Actually, let me try out auto destroy. Let's see if that does what I want. If not, I can. I destroyed the wrong thing there. I mean to destroy itself. Top bullets when the key is released. see, I think maybe that's something. Let me tell you actually. Alright, this maybe actually might take a bit longer than the time we have now, because the stream is going to end a bit soon. So what I think I'll do is I'll take a look at an existing first-person game, and I'll see kind of what they have, or kind of analyze the aspects relating to it being first-person. Whether it's the design, or whether it's decisions they had to make, or aspects of the game that people might not necessarily think about, you know? The 80s? What kind of games do you like to play in the 80s? Man, what games were in the 80s? Like Atari? I like playing classic games though. That's definitely my comfort zone, I guess. Oh wow. Let's see if this shows up fine or not. Alright, please tell me if the FPS is fine or not. I just want to make sure it's not like lagging or something. Let me try this again. Okay, how about now? Does it show up fine, or are there like stutters, or like is the FPS low or something? Okay, awesome. Right. So one thing I like about Overwatch is that there's a lot of variety in the characters. Because when you're building a game, there's so many aspects, like character, whether, let's take a character like Cassidy, for example. He has his weapon. Let's go over all the aspects of his weapon, just that by itself, his primary weapon. There's the gun itself, there's the particle effects, there's the animations that are tied to certain actions, like right-clicking. there's stats of the weapon, like how much ammo it has, how much damage it does. And then there's the actual mechanics of the weapon. So like, does it fire straight? Does it fire? Does it like hit scan? Does it projectile? Stuff like that. Let's go over a character like Soldier 76. I imagine he's meant to be a pretty comfortable character to most players, especially if like maybe you've never really played Overwatch. It's meant to be a character that you can kind of just pick up and know how to play. So I'd also like to ask in chat, just to get your ideas, what do you think is important when you're designing a competitive game? What's like the main things you should try and achieve when you're developing in order to make a game that's competitively viable? And conversely, like, what's something that, if done poorly in a game, could make it not competitively viable? Difficulty level, definitely something. There's a few things that people don't necessarily think about, or like as like the first thing. So one part of a game being competitive is that someone has to grind your game. Someone has to be consistently playing your game for it to be competitive. Otherwise, how can someone get good at your game if they're not playing it a bunch? So you have to understand, how do I make someone play that game a bunch? So when you want someone to play your game a bunch competitively, compared to like say like Mario Party, because like that might be a game you play a lot, but it's like competitive. You have to make it competitive in terms of mechanics. So like maybe it's like you versus another real-time player. That definitely inspires competitive attributes in games. Another part is finding out how to make it rewarding to be a competitive player in a certain game, like whether it's like, oh, you can get a lot of kills, you can just be a carry if you do really well, stuff like that. I don't want to go record. And then another thing is skill expression. So why does it feel good to play your game? Like, why does it feel good to play Soldier 76 over, say, like, something else? Well, one thing about it is that he's very, not necessarily, like, simple. Well, he is simple, but, like, he's focused a lot on fundamentals. Like, in order to play a good 76, you have to have extremely good fundamentals of the game. So that's just like you're running, you're shooting, you're recovering, you're strafing, stuff like that. So the people who play him probably like him for those reasons. And conversely, there are characters like maybe Genji who are very complicated and combo-oriented, but players can just see like the difference in terms of like what they're getting out of this character compared to what they might get out of 76. So we can play a little bit of Genji and see here. So one part of a competitive game is making the game accessible, which might seem a bit counterintuitive because you might be thinking, whoa, shouldn't you focus more on the top players? But that's not necessarily true, because the people who are going to make a game successful competitively and are going to make someone want to play it competitively are more casual players who maybe play the game but maybe don't like play at a super high competitive level, because they're the people who make people who are competitive feel like they've actually like achieved something really big because it's popular, or because it's widely played and therefore people really people can see like, oh, it's impressive when you made this play or did this or are really good at a certain character. And part of that is just widespread appeal. That goes somewhat with balance, because obviously like you shouldn't balance around people who aren't the best at your game and maybe having flaws in their playstyle, but also that's something natural, right? Everyone's going to have flaws in their playstyle. They should be able to at least have fun with the character. It should still be rewarding at a low skill level. But there should be the kit should be designed in a way where there is room for skill expression. And by skill expression, I mean you can perform different actions that lead to different. It's hard to talk about playing, but you can basically perform significantly better the more knowledge you have about the character, about the game, and you're rewarded with that in terms of kills, in terms of wins, stuff like that. So you're rewarded for playing the game for a long time. Good. Compared to a character who maybe has maybe like a lower skilling, and therefore might be easier to pick up, but overall like at a high level might not necessarily be as rewarding, because you might be performing similarly to like a lower SR player. So Genji is a much different hero compared to like say 76, who's shooting at people. Genji is a lot more focused on like diving the back line, keeping the attention of the others, like supports. Oh, did they just solo grab him? I guess they did. You can kind of see Genji's playstyle and how it's kind of encouraged from his kit, because he doesn't do like tons of damage in the same way that maybe like Soldier 76 would. It's damage in a different sense, because you have to be close, you have to be comboing your abilities, like you have to combo deflect, to engage, into dash, into right clicks. Unlike 76, you can kind of just run around and take different angles. You won't necessarily get as much value doing that. Might switch actually. Switch up something different. Game psychology, why is playing games so addictive? That's a really, really cool point, actually. Because if you think about it, like something that people tend to not like homework, for example. People dread doing homework, people just don't enjoy it, and it's really hard for them to get themselves to do it and do it well. But people learn all sorts of things, and it's like fine for them. Like, okay, go. They do things like they learn Minecraft. Like if you've ever done redstone stuff in Minecraft, like it gets pretty complicated. Like, you're learning about the game, and you're learning about how to actually apply the science of Minecraft. It's just not the same science as you might have in like the classes, but it's a science. So one interesting question that David actually covered so one person from Avalanche, the co-founder actually, John Gottfried, he does a podcast where he talks about the developer education community. And one thing they talk about that I think is really cool is how do you harness that energy of like being able to play Minecraft for 6 hours into stuff that people find to be more like valuable in terms of like skills you're getting, things like that. Like the reason you study a craft and do homework and that kind of thing. Bob did a lot better dudes. The one thing I think that is a key part of it is just relating learning itself to things that we know. For example, like, I don't love a ton of math. I like some math. But I really like competitive Pokemon. And a lot of that is damage calculation in your head, determining how much damage you can have done to you with a given attack. And there's a whole formula for that. And that I find really enjoyable. So I think relating sciences, maths, into things that you know that you love is something that schools, in my opinion, need to focus on a lot more. Like, in the chemistry class, like, maybe you bake a cake. Like, literally, your class is baking a cake, and all you do is the teacher talks about the components of chemistry that are relevant, and you can see the importance of it because you literally just baked a cake using the fundamentals that you were learning, which was like, yeast or not yeast, but like flour rising in the oven when you make a batter out of it. When you're making bread, like how yeast and bacteria can influence the baking process and make something that you think is desirable, like having maybe like fluffy bread compared to like very flat, like dense, chewy bread. And why we do certain things, like how do you make a really, like, imagine having a chemistry class where the teacher shows you how to make a really good cheesy sauce. Like, a really good way of making a really good cheesy sauce is having carbohydrates that are emulsified with something. So it can be like a fat, like butter. It can be come out of like dairy. You can have oils being emulsified, like olive oil. So you can literally talk about like how carbohydrates interact with XYZ in an interesting way. And I just think that there should be more effort into doing that kind of thing. Because for me, I use a cooking example because I like cooking. But yeah, I think that's something that could be really cool. I think I will play. I think that's going to be it for now. Yeah, I'd love to do some more streams where we're just talking about maybe developer education. Just because I think that's really, important topic to me in particular. But yeah, thanks for attending the streams. Have fun with the rest of Global Hack Week. My name's Zane, and yeah, it's been fun hanging out with y'all. See ya.